Adam Rowe, I use he, him pronouns. When COVID hit, I couldn't work as an actor anymore, because shows weren't happening. So I got a job doing diversity and inclusion consulting, and I was like suddenly in rooms with like the leadership team of Microsoft and Fonterra and Youth Horizons, I was like in rooms full of really powerful decision makers, and found that I could have a much bigger impact in those rooms than I was having in theatres.
I'm Ben, I use they, them pronouns. I still work freelance as a documentary filmmaker, a propagandist for environmental issues and storytelling stuff. And then that storytelling translates really well into, it's taking difficult, hard to consume ideas and then translating them into something that's really consumable for the general public. That's what I've done as a job for so long, and now this business that we're making is just another version of that same thing with different information. Yeah, so that's kind of been the journey into how I've got here.
Bringing education and consultation to workplaces who are trying to look after trans people is what we're doing.
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
It's called Every Gender. We want to bring trans lived experiences into these conversations and these decisions which are happening about trans people, because so much of the time these decisions are made without trans people involved, and I think they should be.
I was working with an organisation catering to like a broader community than just trans people, but all the questions that I was getting were about trans folks. So I was kind of in there going, there's a gap here that's not being met. So partly that, and then also partly I have always kind of used my own experiences to talk to people who don't share them, and like humanize trans people or humanize people with lived experience of mental distress, or just like humanizing the experiences of different folks to bridge those lived experience gaps.
Well, you came up with the idea.
Yeah.
And then you started talking to me about it, and then I realised I was non-binary, and that puts me in the trans category. I'm like, well, I now am part of this community, and my experiences are valuable and valid in the same space. And Adam and I have worked on so many projects before in the past. We've done so many theatre shows. We did this really great one recently called Man Lessons, which is based on the documentary that I am making of Adam. It's a whole big experience. It's humanising Adam's experiences for the public, which is really, really great. So we've worked really well together in the past, and our brains just kind of, they do good work when they're next to each other, and so it just felt like a good thing to be involved in. And I think I just sort of like slowly eased into it. I was like, oh, can I help in some way? And suddenly I'm a co-founder.
I want trans people to be paid enough to live their lives. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, The trans community are paid about 50% of the median wage of cis people in New Zealand, or of the general population of New Zealand, sorry.
Yeah. So people are still raging about the 9% wage gap between men and women. Yeah, and we're at 50. And there's so many factors that contribute to that, like the discrimination that trans people face, and just like lack of understanding about who we are creates barriers to education, barriers to healthcare, barriers to lots of different stuff that is contributing to us being cut out of workplaces, out of like high-paying jobs. But a huge barrier is that trans people will walk into a new job and find that suddenly they're having to educate everyone who works there about trans experiences and like self-advocate, and we walk in on the back foot, and we're having to do all of this labour that's not our job, which gets in the way of us doing our job. So then we don't do a very good job because we're exhausted from doing all the other work. So yeah, trans people
don't get promoted.
Yeah, don't get promoted.
You're not doing a good job.
Also get sick of doing that other work and quit. So yeah, we're trying to like do that other work that the trans people shouldn't be doing, so that they can hopefully walk into a new job and just get on with it.